Welcome to Reno's World Podcast, where truth slips through the cracks and myth whispers in the dark. I'm Reno Reigns. Tonight's topic, exploring the Anunnaki, extraterrestrial influences on our history. We play an old movie in the background because, well, this is a podcast and we like to keep things interesting. Buckle up. Let's dive in. In the heart of the British Museum, behind the glass of room 56, sits a clay tablet that shouldn't exist. Dated to 7th century BCE, it shows a winged being, bearded in a horned crown, holding what appears to be a pine cone, and next to him, a handbag. But this isn't art, this is warning, because this symbol, the pine cone, shows up everywhere. Babylon, Egypt, Greece, and 2,000 years later, the Vatican. In the Cortile della Pigna, a 13-foot bronze pine cone rests beneath papal coats of arms. Same posture, same symbolism. Why? Because they never left. Timeline snap. 4000 BCE Sumer, the first known civilization, appears almost overnight. Writing, astronomy, city planning, legal codes, metallurgy, all fully developed. The Sumerians didn't claim they invented these things. They said they were given to them by the Anunnaki, those who came from the heavens to earth. That's not poetic language. That's a title. Sumerian kings claimed descent from them. The gods of Mesopotamia weren't spirits, they were physical, tangible. They had ranks, roles, and technology. The Epic of Gilgamesh describes them in aircraft. One-cylinder seal, VA-243, Berlin Museum, appears to show a solar system with all planets in correct orbit, including Pluto. And who was the modern man who screamed this from the rooftops? Enter Zecharia Sitchin, historian, linguist, author of the Earth Chronicles, 1976-2010. He wasn't a fringe YouTuber. He worked in finance. He read Sumerian cuneiform directly, and he believed the Anunnaki were real, flesh and blood extraterrestrials from a rogue planet called Nibiru. Outlandish? Maybe. But here's the catch. Nothing he claimed was fictional. He cited the tablets, the myths, the glyphs. You can read them yourself in the translations from Samuel Kramer and the University of Pennsylvania's cuneiform collection. The descriptions match. Jump cut. 2003, Iraq War. The National Museum of Iraq is looted during the U.S. invasion. Over 15,000 artifacts vanish overnight. Some never recovered. The most targeted section? The Sumerian wing. Witnesses say men in military uniforms took specific items, not random looters. In 2005, Marine Column Matthew Bogdanos confirmed, "We had intelligence that particular pieces were being targeted for removal." Source, National Geographic, Deck 2000. Why? What were they trying to erase? Backtrack, Lloyd Pye. Researcher, public speaker, real person. He died in 2013. His life's work? The Starchild skull and human hybrid theories. He argued humans show sudden unnatural jumps in DNA, pointing to intervention, not evolution. We are a genetically modified species. Lloyd Pye, everything you know is wrong. And the ancient texts back him up. The Atrahasis epic speaks of the gods being tired of labor, so they made workers, mixed the flesh and blood of a god with clay. Sound like mythology or bioengineering? DARPA patents for CRISPR gene editing mirror these ancient processes, extracting, splicing, modifying. It gets worse. The pine cone, again, in ancient Mesopotamia, it was held by the god Ninurta, who is described in Akkadian texts as flying in a black chariot that burned the sky. In the human brain, the pineal gland sits in the center. It regulates melatonin, but mystics call it the seat of the soul. The third eye. Coincidence or memory? Some researchers believe the pinecone symbol represents control of consciousness, a technology left behind, or still used. Now watch this. In 2012, FOIA documents revealed DARPA's interest in neuroweapons. Document Engineering the Mind, Cognitive Neuroscience for Intelligence Analysts. It outlines the ability to manipulate perception, emotion, even belief, remotely, and the tech, post-EM fields delivered through the skull via the pineal region. You think this is sci-fi? Ask neuroscientist Dr. James Giordano, Pentagon consultant, who said in a 2018 West Point lecture, "The brain is the battlefield of the 21st century." Source, Modern War Institute, "The brain is the battlefield," 28. They didn't invent this. They're rediscovering it. But why bury it? Why scrub it from textbooks, from museums, from minds? The suppression of truth is not accidental. It is systematic. Richard Dolan, life historian Sitchin died in 2010, Pi in 2013. Their work was discredited by mainstream academics who never offered better answers, only mockery. Yet the anomalies remain. Pyramids aligned with Orion's belt, same as Sumerian ziggurats. Hybrid bloodlines in ancient royal families. Myths of sky gods across every civilization, from Mesoamerica to Japan. Separate invention or a shared memory? And this is where it breaks. Because in 2016, WikiLeaks dropped an email from Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell to John Podesta. In it, Mitchell talks about nonviolent ETI, extraterrestrial intelligences, and warns of a space war in development. That email, 100% real, still archived. Podesta emails, Nub 1802. Why was a moonwalking astronaut worried about space warfare with ETI? Unless someone's coming back. Cliffhanger. But what happened next would break every rule of logic we thought we understood. Because in 2020, a former Israeli space security chief came forward, and what he said made even Sitchin look tame. The Galactic Federation has been in contact with Earth for years. Haim Eshed, former head of Israel's Defense Ministry's Space Directorate, published in Yediot HaHaronot, Israel's largest newspaper. He wasn't just anyone. Eshed ran Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. He held clearances you and I can't dream of. And he went public with this. Aliens are real. World governments know. There's a base on Mars. And they won't reveal themselves until we're ready. Sound familiar? That matches exactly what the Sumerians said, that the Anunnaki left but would return when humanity had reached maturity. Eshed said that time is near, and now the signals are everywhere. Rewind to 1998. NASA's SOHO satellite captures an object refueling from the sun. A cylindrical craft, miles long, dips into the corona. Energy flares. It shoots away. NASA never explains it. They call it a glitch. The same shape appears carved into Babylonian reliefs. In those same hands, the Anunnaki hold their mysterious handbags, not unlike modern-day Faraday cases, symbolic of stored power or frequency control. Meanwhile, underground, 2002 South Africa, researcher Michael Tellinger discovers ruins older than any known city, estimated over 200,000 years old. Circular stone structures scattered across the landscape form strange grids. They are aligned with celestial frequencies. Tellinger calls them sound resonators, energy devices. What did the Sumerians say the Anunnaki needed? Gold, not for wealth, but for stabilizing their atmosphere. Could these ruins be remnants of the ancient mining colonies mentioned in the Enuma Elish? The text literally describes a labor rebellion, followed by the creation of humans to dig in their place. And what about human design? Geneticist Francis Crick, co-discoverer of DNA, suggested that life on Earth may have been seeded intentionally. He wasn't a conspiracy theorist. He won a Nobel Prize. In his own words, life did not arise on Earth. It was sent here in a deliberate act of seeding. Compare this to Sitchin's translation. Let us make man in our image, using the essence of the gods. These weren't metaphors. They were manuals. Fast forward 2023. David Grush, former U.S. intelligence officer, tells Congress under oath, "We have non-human craft in our possession. Recovered biologicals. It's a crash retrieval program that's been hidden for decades." Everything the ancients said, every symbol, every myth, suddenly sounds more like declassified history. So what does this mean? Why now? Here's where it all turns. Because NASA isn't just looking outwards, they're looking backward. The 2022 Artemis program, symbolic name if you know mythology, isn't just about returning to the moon. It's about establishing a permanent base, a listening post. And DARPA, they've moved into genetic defense. Their Safe Genes initiative isn't science fiction. It's about creating humans who can withstand radiation, stress, and most importantly, control over their own genome. Ask yourself, why now? Why the sudden urgency to reprogram humanity? Maybe because something is coming back. NASA's Planetary Defense Office tracks rogue celestial bodies. In 2016, Caltech astronomers confirmed a large, unseen object pulling at our outer solar system. They call it Planet 9. Ancients called it Nibiru. It's not confirmed yet, but it fits the same orbit, the same math, the same ancient timeline. Is it real? We'll know when the sky tells us. Here's what we do know, absolutely real. Every culture shares myths of gods descending from the sky. Every ancient site aligns to star systems we can now verify. Every leap in civilization came not gradually, but suddenly. And every time someone tries to expose this, they're discredited or disappear. Just like Sitchin, just like Pi, just like whistleblowers everywhere. And now their warnings echo louder than ever. But here's the twist. If the Anunnaki were here once, they left signs for those willing to see. If they return, it won't be through war. It will be through data, light, and belief. The real battle is for perception. And the truth, it was hidden in plain sight. As Sitchin once wrote, when the gods left, they said they would return, but not as gods, as watchers. So what do you believe? Are we descendants of gods, victims of genetic control, or just scratching the surface of an ancient plan? Because once you start down this rabbit hole, you don't climb out. If this blew your mind, you know what to do. They don't want this story told. So help us keep it alive. Like, share, and follow. There's more coming.